Hey everyone, James Labrie from Dream Theater, and you're listening to or watching the podcast Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian. Enjoy this. These guys are extremely informative. I love their dialogue. I love their interpretation of the songs, who and what we are, what we were going after. They're very accurate in their interpretations and descriptions, and I just think this is a great show, and these guys are doing a stand-up stellar job. So once again, enjoy Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Talking into Infinity, a Dream Theater-centric podcast. I am your host, John. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, talkingintoinfinity.com, the CMSnetwork.com, and the CMS Network Rumble page, and the CMS Network Locals page. We are live at those locations every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you are watching on YouTube and you have not done so already, please click the like button and click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. Without further ado, let me bring on my co-host and my very good friend, Mr. Brian Hendrickson. What is up, man? How's it going?
What's going on, man? We're finally kicked off into summer here, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, man. The weather's been beautiful, and I have a cookout scheduled for tomorrow night. My brother's been out of country for 2 weeks, so we haven't talked in almost 3, and he's like, I want to come over, grill out, and we'll have like a get-together. I said, okay.
Nice.
And I got all this firewood. We're going to have a fire and kind of chill out in the yard. I have a beautiful, it's a little yard, but it's very cozy for hanging out in. And all week, the weather's supposed to be like 72 and sunny. And now all of a sudden it's rain all day. I'm like, Mother Nature, you bitch.
Yeah, we're supposed to play out tomorrow night way down south. So I'm concerned about that.
Where at?
New Philadelphia, Louisville, actually. Bud's Corner, we're down there. Yeah, so.
Yeah, okay.
We shall see. We do have cover above us, but you know, everyone else isn't really covered. So
that's the exact situation we have on Saturday. We're playing Salina, and the stage area is covered, but where the people stand is not. And it's supposed to be, as of right now, it's thunderstorms all day long. So that might not be, might not be a good environment for a live rock show there. So, but
fingers crossed, because I got like a 2-hour drive almost to get down there, so I really don't want to go down there. And
well, you know, I don't feel bad for you on that.
No, I know you don't.
Considering that's my average drive for one way every show. So
right.
So I do feel your pain there, but alrighty. So this should be pretty good tonight. I was kind of scouring the internet for potential topics, and I came across a list. It's on loudwire.com. I believe they're always good for some cool lists. We've used them before. And this one is the best song on each of the 16 Dream Theater studio releases. So I have seen this. You have not. I only looked at it once, so I don't remember most of it. But I do remember there was a couple choices. I was like, I don't know about that. So it should be pretty interesting to see what we agree with and what we do not agree with. Before we start, do you think you'd be able to, off the top of your head, name what you think is the best song off each record pretty quickly? I think I can. I think that it's kind of an easy exercise for me. What about you?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too difficult. Actually, right out the gate's probably the hardest one, to be honest with you.
I don't know. There's a couple difficult ones, man. And it's always difficult because I sometimes get caught up in, you know, when we do these sorts of things, the difference between best and favorite. Because it's kind of like, I think I've made this analogy before, but like on my Star Wars show, you know, when we rank the movies in terms of best and whatnot, like my favorite Star Wars movie is not necessarily the best Star Wars movie. So that's there is a difference there.
Well, it's always still subjective, you know, to a point too. So the fact that somebody likes Dream Theater enough to rank, their favorite song is cool. It's cool enough,
Right.
and it is, right? I mean, the way I look at it is, there's no wrong answer as long as it's, what I say. So that's the way I
Nice.
look at it.
Right. So Rocket Man 137, great to see you, man. He says it's Loudwire. Oh Lord, here we go. Doug McCauley, great to see you as always, man. He says shitwire. Define best in quotes. That's pretty open, apparently. So we will see. Chastity Crawley, it says here but distracted. Chaz, you're really distracted lately. You got a lot going on show nights. So in any case, this ought to be pretty good. Like I say, it's an interesting list. Like you said, it's all subjective. That being said, again, there are some weird choices here, I think. So
do we have it within us? Well, I know we have no integrity, so let's stop there.
Nice.
But do we have enough integrity to do a follow-up show in the future? What is the worst song on each album?
You know what? I thought about that, and is that too negative?
I don't know if it's negative. I mean, well, of course it's negative, but
yeah, it's like, that's kind of like, watch, that's the one show that they'll tune into. Mike Portnoy's gonna be like, I'll finally watch this dumb show, and it'll be worst song on every record.
I think, I don't know, you still got to, I mean, we that's what we do as people and as fans. We rank stuff, right? So why not? I say we do it at some point.
I don't know, dude. See, it's all
second least favorite song on each, so it's less
yeah.
It's less negative.
The middle of the road song.
Yeah,
the song, take it or leave it.
This was in my top 3 on that album. Top 5.
Yeah, right.
Top 5. Bottom 6.
We're gonna get into that eventually. Rocket Man 137 says repentance all the way. Yeah, I think that was, Chris Aiken, great to see you, mate. Says John, best song on Images of Words, Ain't Talking About Love. Yeah, this should be fun, man. But in terms of doing a least favorite, I don't know, like it because I'm so torn on that, because like when I go on that stupid Dream Theater Facebook page, like the main fan page on Facebook, there are so many assholes just shitting on things that it's like, I just don't want to like throw our hat into that sort of a ring, because I shouldn't do it, but I admit I blast people on there sometimes for just being so ignorant. It's like, and I don't want to go doing it myself. So,
well, I guess if we're being realistic, for me, it would be like a 10-minute episode, because 2 of my 3. I think my third. So I really only got 3 of them total. That's it.
Right. So Chris Aiken says worst song would get the most traffic and comments. Yeah, it would probably get like a cease and desist from the band. I don't think they'd like it very much.
No,
like, hey guys,
you're allowed. We're allowed to rank the songs. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, but it's also, I don't know. We'll talk about it off air. That's a discussion for another time. So what's a discussion for right now is Loudwire.com's list of the best song on each Dream Theater record. And this does go chronologically. So we'll be starting with When Dream and Day Unite, ending up with Parasomnia. So, Brian, if you had to name the best song on Dream Theater's debut record, When Dream and Day Unite, what song would you choose?
Well, hold on. Let's set this up. Who's the author of this? Let's at least give him a quick shout out. The guy's
let's
name.
see. Let's see. Scroll.
Some dude.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the damn author's name? I wonder if I have to go down to the bottom. Yeah, I think I got to go down to the bottom. Yeah, SD, some dude.
Okay. Well, before this is over, we should at least give them credit for giving us an episode. Like, we couldn't come up with this on our own. We had to see someone else do it. All right. So first of all, what we want to do is we'll take turns predicting what we think they have.
Well, you would have to do that because I'm reading it. So.
Oh, okay. That's going to be pretty tough for you then.
I can actually not scroll. I can do that by not scrolling to the next one. So.
Oh God.
I mean, what would you should say what yours is, and also what you think this guy chose.
All right, what mine is I'll say. Wait, this is tough. It was down to 2. I'll say Matter of Time.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
And the reason why And I've decided I'm not going to say that we've talked about this before because I say that all the time. So if you hear me say something I said before, just, at least I didn't preface it with telling you I said it before because it's super monotonous. But I think that's the song that really sets the tone for what's coming on Images and Words. I love the last 2 minutes or so. That great killer keyboard solo. Love that.
Okay.
So that's what I would pick. And what I think they're going to go with is, I'm going to say Status Seeker.
Interesting choice. Okay. See, this is right off the bat one of those where I'm struggling between the definition of favorite and best. So I will say that I think my favorite song on the record would be either Status Seeker or Fortune and Lies. I would have to say, though, if I'm thinking best, I always kind of fall on The Killing Hand. So I think that is kind of like the first major giant prog tune that they did. And, like you said, Only a Matter of Time kind of sets the stage for Images and Words. I think The Killing Hand kind of sets the stage for them with how proggy and bombastic and big they can be. I think that's the first example that you get of that in their catalog. So that would be my choice for best. Doug McCauley says, everyone picks a different song on When Dream and Day Unite. I think that's the album's strength if it has one. Yeah, that's true, Doug. I mean, the people's opinions on this one are all over the board, so that's good. However, you said that Only a Matter of Time sets the tone for this record. This guy says, The Ones Who Help to Set the Sun is the best song on When Dream and Day Unite. So his explanation is, if the Yitzhak Jam qualified, it'd definitely be here. And while Opener of Fortune and Lies is a strong starter, it's the ones who help to set the sun that leaves the greatest impression. Beginning with the sounds of someone driving during a thunderstorm alongside chimes, foreboding bass, and surreal keyboard patterns, its moody Death of Spock opening establishes the song's chaotic chronicle of dreaming about death and then awakening with newfound optimism. Hectic rhythms and guitar work follow as late frontman Charlie Dominici sings with effectively high-pitched panic. He may not have been right for Dream Theater, given that he was replaced by James LaBrie for Images and Words, but his urgent verses and rising choruses are quite compelling. The rest of the band move around Dominici's voice with emblematic sophistication and adventurousness, foreshadowing their trademark style with purposeful emotion. The Ones Who Help to Set the Sun is far from top-tier Dream Theater, but it's easily the standout song of When Dream and Day Unite. So there we go.
I agree with, I think it's more prog than The Killing Hand, to be honest. Killing Hand has more of the Queensryche metal feel to me, but I feel like prog is, The One Who Sets the Sun. I was kind of sort of thinking about that for a minute too, but I like you picked that one.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of hard to go wrong with something on this record, really. I mean, you could make an argument somehow for, all of them. Chris Aiken, Holy Thesaurus, right? Without help, SD. Nice.
Some dude.
Yeah. Doug McCauley, Balls Out, my favorite song on that. I'm surprised. I agree with Fartwire.
How many different names we're going to have for this by the time it's done?
I don't know, man. That's Doug, man. Let the man use his creativity. All right. So next up, obviously, is Images and Words. This one's difficult. I think
there's nothing good on this one, so I don't just go to the next one.
I personally, I think the best song is Learning to Live. I like that one. I like how it kind of like encapsulates the entire record.
Yeah.
I think it's an awesome closing song. It ebbs and flows in a really cool fashion, in and out of like, some heavy parts and some mellow parts and all that kind of stuff. So I would have to go with Learning to Live. What about you? I know this is your favorite record, so
it's so Captain Obvious for what I'm going to say. So I guess I just better say it. We really hadn't heard anything like Pull Me Under quite like that before, but we definitely had never heard anything like Metropolis. Nobody had done any piece of music remotely like that ever, to that point, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, you're right on Learning to Live, though. That is a reason to pick that because it sort of encapsulates some of the themes of the whole entire rest of the album. But Yeah, I got to say Metropolis, and I'm going to say this guy, SD.
SD.
I'm going to say he said, I'm going to say Under a Glass Moon.
All right. By the way, Aaronetic, great to see you. He agrees with me on Killing Hand, so that's good. And Doug agrees with me on Learning to Live, so that's good. So far, so good in the chat. I'm not getting filleted yet. So they chose Metropolis Part 1, The Miracle and the Sleeper. Okay. And the rationale, here comes more thesaurus for Chris Aiken. True, Pull Me Under remains Dream Theater's biggest song, and closer Learning to Live does an exceptional job of reprising Wait to Sleep. God, I'm reading like Neely. While channeling the pastoral peak of Jethro Tull's prog rock heyday. Even so, we must go with Metropolis Part 1, The Miracle and the Sleeper, since it's one of the group's best compositions, and not just because it foreshadows its full-length sequel, which is arguably the greatest progressive metal album of all time. The blend of chilling sleigh bells, tumultuous percussion, dreamy synths, and threatening guitar playing at the start immediately makes it playfully epic, vibrant, and ominous. Already, Dream Theater have demonstrated how much they've progressed, no pun intended, from their debut album, with this section, completed by Labree's enticingly operatic singing and storytelling, rivaling much of what they do over the ensuing decades. The instrumental break during the second half is what seals the deal, though, since it delivers a perfect compromise between flashy showmanship and touching melodic shifts. In particular, guitarist John Petrucci and keyboardist Kevin Moore captivate as they unite and juxtapose each other with gripping riffs and quirky timbres. Along the way, bassist John Mayung's hypnotic solo is offset by Portnoy's irregular counterpoints, and after a couple more minutes of flamboyant jamming, the fivesome ingeniously pivot toward the tender finale. Over 30 years later, Metropolis Part 1 is still a mind-blowing game changer. Yeah, I think I'm with you, Aiken. SD definitely is busting out the thesaurus for these. So there we go. Doug McCauley, pun was totally intended. SD thinks he's clever. Nice. Stephen Bullitt, great to see you, man. He says, pull me under, just grabbed you in. Doug says, no bad choices on Images and Words. And Aaronetic, Images and Words is tough, but I go with Under a Glass Moon. All right. Good choices there. Another record, it's hard to pick one. All right, Brian. So we are on 1994's Awake. What do you think is the best one, and what do you think they chose?
Oh, God. I'm going to say they chose... This is hard, man.
Yeah, this is a little tougher one.
I'll say they chose Caught in a Web.
Okay.
What
would you pick?
Man, this is tough for me. Okay, there's two that I'm like, two albums I'm kind of like, I don't know. I think it's Innocence Faded, but some people might think that song's a little too simple, for lack of a better word, maybe.
Okay. I think they chose the song that I'm going to go with. I would say 6 a.m. just because I think that song is a nice bridge between Images and Words and what you get with the rest of Awake, because Awake is a little bit more raw. It's heavier. It's darker. James Labree is a little more gritty. I think this is definitely his kind of like his most metal performance, I would say. And it's pretty legendary in the catalog. You think about it. I mean, everybody knows that. Everyone knows that intro and the choruses and stuff like that. So it's hugely popular with the fans. So Chris Aiken, I don't know if he's serious or not. Whenever he comments on
he's not
Theater,
serious.
He says Voices by a lot.
He couldn't name two songs off the album. He's just looking at it on Spotify. All
right. You know what? I'm going to put somebody on blast. Ted Clayton says, wonderful when I go ignored. Ted, you brought up a song from an album we're not talking about yet, okay? And another thing, it's my goddamn show. I'll pull up whatever fucking comments I want. There, you're not ignored anymore. Quit bitching. Go watch another podcast that doesn't pull up people's podcasts.
Who is this? This could be somebody we know.
I don't know. but I hate when people whine about it. Like most podcasts don't even bring up comments. So stop. Quit complaining. Rocket Man says the Mirror or Space Dive Vest. Okay. All right. Aeronetic thinks Awake. It's a tie between Voices and Scarred. Love those songs so much. All righty. Well, let's see what Loudwire has chosen. You aren't going to believe this. Oh my gosh.
Space Dive Vest.
It is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It actually, wow. Okay. They say, SD says, I should say, this might be an unpopular opinion, but we have no reluctance in saying that Dream Theater's third collection ends with its superlative and most atypical song, Space Dive Vest. Penned by Moore, who announced his departure during the making of Awake, the piece was inspired by a model he saw in a magazine who was wearing, you guessed it, a space dive vest. Moore had recently ended a relationship and he was projecting his need to give and receive affection onto her. Everything about the tune oozes romantic defeat and yearning, with its classical piano prelude evoking something Andrew Lloyd Webber might have written for the Phantom of the Opera. Once it kicks into gear, it's a beautifully devastating experience, with Moore's morose motif coating Labríe's bleak admittances. The lyrics, love is an act of blood and I'm bleeding, a pool in the shape of a heart, beauty projection in the reflection, always the worst way to start. Industrial sound effects and passages from several media clips, namely 1985's A Room with a View, cleverly add intrigue, authenticity, and nuance to Moore's feelings of desire and longing. As it wraps up, distressed percussion and other elements enhance the sense of desperation, fading out as Labríe's final confession, and I'll smile and I'll learn to pretend and I'll never be open again, captures what Moore and virtually anyone else who's been in his situation feel about their recent heartbreak. Interesting. Okay. There we go. Doug McCauley. More widows are happy tonight. Chastity would have chosen Awake's Caught in a Web. Okay. All right. Aiken. I know a few Dream Theater songs. Being John's friend, I've been forced to listen for 25 years. I never, ever forced you to listen to anything. Won't be doing that. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting choice, man.
Romantic yearning. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's see here. I think we booted somebody by accident here. Let's see. Yeah. All right.
What happened to Ted Clayton?
Ted Clayton bailed. So I was about to bring up his comment since it was about the next record, but apparently pissed him off.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Space Dive Vest is his favorite. So see, John, now you got to be nice.
Ted Clayton, don't have to be vile. Sheesh. I'm a lifelong Dream Theater fan like you. Space Dive Vest, my favorite from Awake. Not being vile, man.
Ted Clayton.
There we go.
You're right, Ted Clayton. John needs to chill the fuck out.
Shut up, Brian. Yeah, no, Ted. If you've listened to the show before, you know that I'm a huge fan of Space Dive Vest, and Brian is not. That song actually gave rise to our gorilla fart drinks, because Brian called it a gorilla fart, and I thought he was talking about an actual gorilla fart, but he was talking about the beverage. So that's it's actually.
I've learned to
historic.
appreciate the music of that song, though, but the lyrics, I'm still I don't know.
Okay.
That whole 5-minute paragraph you read, that story, like, I don't know, I'm not buying any of that. Sorry.
Okay. All righty. Let's move on to my favorite record. That would be 1997's Falling into Infinity. So there we go. I'm not. Shut up. Look at Matt Wardlaw posting the teaser of Spaceballs 2. That's good.
Is that for real?
Oh yeah, yeah. Mel Brooks himself posted the teaser. Yeah.
What is he, like 104?
No, he is in his late 90s, and he's starring in it.
Oh my God.
That dude's
that's amazing.
He's a force of nature, man. All right, so we have Ted Clayton. I can't find your comment up above, so if I remember right, you picked something off of Falling into Infinity. So post it back in here if you could.
I think it was Anna Lee. I think that was him.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, if I was picking a best song, it's also my favorite, but I'm definitely going with Trial of Tears. I just love that song. I think it's perfect. The melodic choices are awesome. I love the emotion of it. It's just a beautiful song to me. God, God damn it, Wardlaw. He says, I can't find your comment because I have technology challenges. Why don't you go grow hair, you bald idiot? Oh my God. See, that's the fun of the show. All my friends treat me like shit. Yeah, I'm going with Trail of Tears. It's not only my favorite, but I think it's the best one as well. So I just think it's one of the very best things they've ever written. It's my favorite. So love you too, Wardlaw. What would you pick, Brian? And what and what do I think they picked?
Well, you already know, don't you? So we go.
No, I'm not scrolling.
Oh, yeah, not looking at this one. Okay.
No, I haven't looked. I obviously knew the first one, but I am going to guess that they're going to go with Lines in the Sand.
That's what I was going to say.
So, all right, Ted Clayton was Anna Lee. Okay, all right, good.
All right, I agree. I think they'll pick Lines in the Sand. I'm going to go. I think this is. Well, I've always torn on if this is a ballad because there's some mid-tempo aspect to it, but I think it's my favorite possible vocal line he does. Take Away My Pain. Love that song.
Oh, good choice, man. Good choice.
Yeah, they don't have. We're up to album. This is album 4, right?
4. Yeah.
So we've never heard a song like Take Away My Pain, like not even close to something like that on the first 4 albums.
Yeah.
First 3 albums rather. So the best is subjective, but I think this is a great song. Again, do I go favorite best? I'm just sticking with it. Take Away My Pain.
Okay. Aaron Eddick says Anna Lee on the official record is awesome, but the demo version is even better. Chastity Crawley says the first time I saw the title Trial of Tears, I misread it and thought it was Trail of Tears. The Cherokee in me was overly excited. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what Loudwire has for Falling into Infinity. They have Hollow Years. Okay. I guess that's not super surprising. Dream Theater's only studio LP with keyboardist Derek Sherinian, who briefly took over for Kevin Moore. 1997's Falling into Infinity is often dismissed as underwhelmingly commercial. While it's undoubtedly their worst 90s album, that's due more to the excellence of its siblings than it is to the quality of Falling into Infinity. Honestly, it has some stellar compositions, with Petrucci's lead single, Hollow Years, landing at the top of the list. A breezily lovelorn ballad, the track is instantly inviting thanks to its European-esque acoustic guitar work, easygoing but dynamic drumming, and softly sung lamentations, most likely about the end of a romantic partnership. The backing harmonies are a lovely touch, as is Sherinian's understated but impactful playing. In general, it is one of Dream Theater's most restrained pieces, but that's a good thing since incorporating their characteristic theatricality would do a disservice to the heartfelt nature of Hollow Years. All right. SD with some more flowery language. So there we go. I was waiting for this. Matt Wardlaw says, quote unquote, it's a better album than Awake. There, made the edit. Warlock he just hates Awake. Show me on the doll where Awake touched you, Matt. You just always hated that record, man. I don't understand. All right. So speaking of difficult ones, man, we now come to 1999's Scenes from a Memory. Oh, this is going to be tough. So, all right. What do you think is the best song, and what do you think they chose?
Oh God. I think they probably chose Spirit Carries On.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to go Dance of Eternity.
Ooh,
you know, there's no vocals in it, but man, there's again, up to this point, I don't think we heard anything like that before. So I know that's not the assignment here exactly, but most innovative song on the next album, right? Yeah, Dance of Eternity, man. I think it's just amazing start to finish.
All right. Well, I think. What do I think they're gonna pick? I don't know if they would pick The Spirit Carries On. Well, no, you know what? I think I'll agree with you on that one. I think they're gonna pick The Spirit Carries On. it's too big of a quote unquote hit. For me, I think that the best song on here, it's kind of a toss up, but I honestly I would have to go with Beyond This Life. That one goes in and out of like mellow to heavy. It's got some really cool stuff, and it's one of those songs that we've talked about on the show that even though it's longer, it moves so quickly that you don't realize how long it is. So, yeah, I would pick Beyond This Life, but I agree with you. I think they're gonna go with Spirit Carries On. Okay. Aeronetic says Beyond This Life for me. Okay, so we're in agreement there. Chastity says I vote Spirit Carries On. Rocket Man says they probably chose Spirit Carries On, but it's Dance of Eternity for me. Matt Wardlaw says I'd pick Home. I agree with Brian that they probably chose Spirit. Okay. Doug McCauley says 100% they chose Spirit. Home is my close second. Ted Clayton says Strange Deja Vu. Okay. All righty. Well, let's see what Loudwire says.
Damn it. I forgot about Through Her Eyes. I don't know if I want to change my vote now.
Well, don't change your vote, because if you change your vote, you would be wrong. They did choose Scene 8. The Spirit Carries On. There are dozens of things that make 1999's Metropolis 2 Scenes from a Memory, which marked the introduction of keyboardist Jordan Rudess, an almost perfect and highly profound journey. Clearly, its poignant storytelling and songwriting are as essential as anything else, and The Spirit Carries On is, by a large margin, the record's shining example of that. In fact, it might be the best Dream Theater song. It might be the best song Dream Theater have ever written, which, as you can already tell, is quite the accomplishment. It's incredibly powerful both within and outside of the LP's narrative, with Labríe's initial existential questions: where did we come from? Why are we here? Where do we go when we die? What lies beyond? What lay before? Is anything certain in life? Provoking listeners to reflect on their own mortality. Delivered with absolute genuineness over gentle piano chords and acoustic guitar strums, it's a beautifully thought-provoking way to begin. From there, the arrangement becomes increasingly elaborate, including a gorgeous electric guitar solo from Petrucci alongside Floydian gospel chants, without stealing the spotlight. Instead, it all punctuates the wide-ranging emotions and sentiments Labrie expresses. Of course, his victorious callback to opener Scene 1, Regression, safe in the light that surrounds me, free of the fear and the pain, my questioning mind has helped me to find the meaning of my life again, is the tear-jerking icing on the cake. Beyond representing protagonists Nicholas and Victoria fully coming to terms with their tragic connections, The Spirit Carries On as a sublime philosophical gift to anyone who's lost loved ones and or doubted their purpose in life. All right. So there we go. Doug McCauley, loud crier, predictable. Nice. All right. So now we are on to 2002's 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. I am going to go with The Great Debate. That is a hill I will die on. The greatness of that song. I love everything about it. It's definitely in my top, 10, if not 5 Dream Theater songs ever. Love the drums are insane in that song. I think it's like really interesting. It gets a little wonky here and there, which I always like. So I'm a big fan of that. In terms of what I think they're going to choose as the best song, this one is tough. See, I'm trying to guess this stuff, Brian, but when they picked Space Divest, that just threw me off, like from picking something obvious for the rest of them.
Well, it's hard because, if you're picking the whole 6 Degree, you know what I mean? Like they can't pick the whole thing, and some of the songs are kind of short. So I'm going to say they picked Glass Prison.
I think I'm going to go with that too. Chris Aiken says Glass Prison. Ted Clayton. See, okay, I don't know if this is cheating, because Ted Clayton and Aeronetic are both choosing the entire second disc.
Well, we said before it's I don't know. I don't think it's cheating for this exercise. It was cheating when we did it for the draft. I damn near know that.
You're changing the rules. Big Al Smasher says, "Hey guys, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in." Doug McCauley, Dutch Oven. I mean, Gas Prison. Nice.
That's great.
All right. So what about you? Best song?
Might be the only one we have agree on. I got to go Great Debate, man.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
And
not a. I absolutely love the drums on this. I love all the sound bites. Guitars are amazing. Everything, man. Just a huge. What do we call it? Mastodon of a song, beast
yes,
of a song, monolith of a song. I don't know
Monolith. That's a good one.
what the word we use sometimes is, but yeah, I'll say Great Debate, and I think, like you said, they probably said Glass Prison.
Okay. Real quick, we'll do a tease for our next episode. We have our very good friend Pyro John in the chat. Pyro John's Fire in the Hole podcast funhouse says best all time can't pick. Best this week, Dream Theater Pet Sounds. Nice. So yeah, we're gonna have Pyro John on the next show. He's gonna be promoting his book that he should have promoted the last time he was on. So I can't wait to give him shit for that. He was a terrible promoter. Awesome Pyro guy and storyteller, but bad promoter. So he will be on to promote his book, and he also has some. He wanted to tell us some other Van Halen stories. So you guys really loved when he was on the first time, so we're having him on again. So he will be here in 2 weeks on June 26th. So that'll be pretty cool. All right, so let's see what they chose from 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, and we are right again. It is the Glass Prison. The first entry in Portnoy's multi-album 12-step suite, which was inspired by his recovery from substance abuse. The Glass Prison includes 3 movements: reflection, restoration, and revelation. It's dedicated to the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, Bill Wilson, and as Portnoy famously explained, the first step in the first section is admitting to being powerless. The second step is needing the help of others, came to believe a power greater than ourselves to restore sanity, and the third section is being willing to turn your life over to a higher power and handing over your will. The song emerges out of the leftover static from Metropolis Part 2 and evolves into one of Dream Theater's most gripping and iconic introductions. Anxiety-inducing rhythms set the stage as Petrucci and Rudis sneakily establish and cathartically release their enthralling central theme, thereby exemplifying why they're among progressive metal's finest guitar and keyboard duos. It's a delightfully colorful yet dramatic lead-in for the frenzied music, singing, and sound effects that complete reflection. This one gets pretty lengthy, so I'll just, let's see if there's an actual close to this. Otherwise, I will just leave it there. But yeah. So all right. I think, yeah, no, okay. It's too much shit. Anyway, they picked Glass Prison. There we go. All right. So, moving on, we have 2004's Train of, or 2003, I believe, Train of Thought. So, what do you think is going to be their choice, and which one would you pick?
I think they're gonna pick something like
Amen, Aeronautic.
I want to throw out Honor Thy Father.
Oh, you picked mine. Okay.
This guy seems to like. I think this is what they're gonna pick. He seems to like the personal kind of songs. Man, I don't know what I want to go with here.
Is this one of the tough ones for you?
Yeah, this is a hard album for me. I always said that before. As far as best song on this album, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, my favorite is As I Am. I don't know if it would be considered the best. If we're talking about the best song on here, let's go Endless Sacrifice.
Okay, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going with Honor Thy Father as the song I think is the best. I that one is just so nasty and gnarly, and rhythmically, I just love it. It's got a killer drum intro. Portnoy is just snarling at his stepfather in this one. I mean, it's just great. So that's the one I would pick. In terms of what I think they would choose, see, again, they've picked obvious ones, but then they picked Space Divest. And I think the ones who helped to set the sun wasn't an obvious choice for the first record either. Chris Aiken, here he goes. Vacant, only song of a true song length. Aiken is living on Google tonight, because I know goddamn well he doesn't know what songs are on any of these records. I'm going to say they're going with As I Am. I'm going to say they're going with As I Am.
Really?
Let's see. Yeah, dude, again, I think this might be one of those obvious ones because As I Am is just so popular.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's my favorite, but I'm trying to lean more now on this one. More, and again, it's subjective, right? Best, but all right, what do they got?
Well, let's see what the chat is all over the place. Doug McCauley says SD picks Honor. Aaronetic says another tie. Have lots of these. Rocketman137 is picking Stream of Consciousness. He says, but Endless Sacrifice and Stream of Consciousness. Andre Cruz, good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. He says, In the Name of God is awesome. So it's a great choice. I completely forgot about that one.
I'm going to say In the Name of God it's possible that they're going to pick two. It's one of those two.
Yeah. Okay. I might agree with you there. Doug McCauley says Endless is probably the best. Chastity says Train of Thought, Honor Thy Father. All righty. Well, let's see what they choose. They choose. Oh, nobody had this one. This Dying Soul. All right. So this is the direct continuation of The Glass Prison. This Dying Soul incorporates the fourth and fifth steps of Portnoy's suite. Reflections of Reality, Revisited, and Release. In keeping with the exceptional heaviness of the LP as a whole, This Dying Soul is probably the most aggressive section of the 12-step suite. Kicking off with downright belligerent riffs and rhythms, Reflections of Reality attractively foreshadows its key motifs during its preliminary instrumental minutes. After the quintet calmed down a bit, Labrie wistfully references Mirror from Awake and Regression from Metropolis Part 2 at least a couple of times each. Next, his chorus is quite mesmerizing, as is Petrucci's cyclical guitar work afterwards. Following more enticing hostility and distorted rapping, which connects to the hip-hop experimentation of The Glass Prison, the comforting bridge gives way to Release. Cleverly, it commences with the same riffs as Restoration from The Glass Prison, and it's steered by more instrumental turmoil as Labrie and Portnoy continue their previous call and response tactic. Finally, other connected themes are cunningly strewn throughout Dream Theater's turbulent wind down. This Dying Soul isn't as ambitious or fascinating as The Glass Prison, but it's a superb successor and the multifaceted highlight of Train of Thought. All righty. Matt Wardlaw. Ironically, I get belligerent when I hear This Dying Soul. Nice. Oh my God, that's great. All right. So we are on to Octavarium. I obviously am going to go with Octavarium as the best song, and I think they're going to choose Octavarium as the best song. So what more can we say? We've waxed poetic about the title track over and over again. Chastity Crawley, I can definitely say that she's not picking that song. We know that. So, but yeah, Octavarium's just a kick-ass song. Definitely a super highlight of their catalog for me. And I think this is one of their stronger records, but I don't see how they would choose anything besides that. I mean, there's other great songs, but Octavarium is just too good all the way around. So, what do you think? Octavarium, your choice, and what do you think they'll choose?
Yeah, they'll probably pick Octavarium. I always get crap for this, but the root of all evil. So I love that song.
There's a hill you'll die on. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the best. I still think it's the best. Well, it's tough for me. That and Panic Attack. And I know there's Panic Attack. Panic Attack's an obvious one, but they either picked Panic Attack or Octavarium. But I'm gonna go root of all evil.
Okay. Yeah, the chat is basically in agreement, man. Although Chastity Crawley, she says Never Enough or Panic Attack. Okay. Aaronetic with a good point. Happy 20th anniversary, Octavarium, June 7th, 2005. Yeah. Rocketman137 title song. Duh. Chastity Crawley says I wouldn't, but SD might. Luke the Composer, great to see you, bro. He says, what's up, guys? Going with Octavarium. Chris Aiken, title track, just because I've spent more money on Touch Tunes playing it than any other song ever recorded. Aaronetic's picking the title track. Doug McCauley says, I can't see how it isn't Octavarium. Matt Wardlaw's with you. He says the root of all evil is the best. All right. Let's see what they have. No surprises here. They picked Sacrificed Sons. No, just kidding. It's Octavarium, obviously.
I was like, what?
Yeah. The closing blockbuster of its namesake LP, the 24-minute Octavarium saw Dream Theater incorporating an orchestra into their arrangements while paying overt homage to their prog and hard rock forefathers. At times, it's a bit too dragged out musically and bluntly referential lyrically. That's done on purpose. But there's no denying that it's one of the group's most outstanding compositions and one of the greatest epic tracks in modern progressive music. It's broken into 5 parts: Someone Like Him, Medicate, Full Circle, Intervals, and Razor's Edge. And like the tunes that precede it, ties into the album's overarching gimmick of referencing the octave by starting in the key of F, just as Opener the Root of All Evil does. For the sake of brevity, though, we won't dissect each segment like we did for the 2 prior pieces. Its ongoing tribute to Dream Theater's inspiration is apparent from the jump, with the atmospheric first few minutes comprised of piercing guitar notes over serene keyboard tones, evoking Pink Floyd's Shine On You Crazy Diamond. It's a while to get where it's going, but it's very enjoyable all the same, as Petrucci's classic acoustic guitar work, also along with Labrie softly singing his opening confessions. Yeah, this one gets lengthy again. The rest of Octavarium upholds that manic malevolence before returning to its starting point, and although it could be a tad more concise and focused, Aiken's going to go nuts with that because he agrees. It's a phenomenal way to honor Dream Theater's forebears amidst capturing the group during their most vibrantly adventurous phase. Alrighty. So Ted Clayton, he would have chosen Panic Attack and Sacrifice Sons. All right. Well, there we go. So we are on to Systematic Chaos. What do you think? What is your choice for best song? Or what do you think they are going to choose?
Well, you know what I'm picking. I got to go with In the Presence of Enemies.
Yeah.
Part 1. I'm thinking based on some of the quirkiness of some of this, I think he's going to go Ministry of Lost Souls, even though I don't like that song. I'm thinking that's what he's going to. I think SD's going that. Yeah, In the Presence of Enemies, man. That's just right out the gate. Just, I mean, this album is tricky because I think, as much as I like Constant Motion and Forsaken and even Dark Eternal Night, like it sets the bar so damn high that you really can't go. You kind of almost have to go down. Is the way I'm looking at it. Maybe that's, I don't know. To me, that's what it is. It just comes out the gate so damn good, and you're like, okay, well, this is cool. This is cool too, but like, I don't know, man. It's tough to maintain the absolute spectacular greatness that is In the Presence of Enemies, Part 1.
Yeah, I think I would go with that one too. There it is. Zauber in 96. Great to see you, man. He of course says repentance. Nice. Great to see you, by the way, Zauber. Yeah, I would agree with you on In the Presence of Enemies. I think the two halves are just so different from each other, yet they tie together so well. I just think it's a great piece of music. You listen to it back to back, and it's just, God, that song is just killer. I think they're going to go with Dark Eternal Night.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. I changed my vote.
Yeah, that one's all. That one is just weird in spots, and it's so heavy, and it just drives, man. That thing is like a bulldozer. So I'm thinking they're going to go with Dark Eternal Night. Let's see. Aeronetic says In the Presence of Enemies. Chastity says they might pick Forsaken. I like Forsaken or Constant Motion. Okay. Oh, Constant Motion. Okay. Andre Cruz, In the Presence of Enemies, parts 1 and 2. Rocket Man says Repentance. Just kidding. It's either between Constant Motion or Presence of Enemies. Ted Clayton says In the Presence of Enemies or Forsaken. Kale McLeish, good to see you, brother, as always. He says Dark Eternal Light or In the Presence of Enemies, Part 2. All right, well, let's see what we got here. Well, there we are again. In the Presence of Enemies. And the video attached is all as one song. It says, yes, In the Presence of Enemies is split into two bookended halves, but for all intents and purposes, it's one song. divided into 6 chapters. It's inspired by a Korean manhwa comic called Priest and ties into the dark fantasy through line of systematic chaos. Consequently, and in contrast to the vivid bounciness of Octavarium, in the presence of enemies is considerably coarse and shadowy. Unsurprisingly, it gets going with a hypnotically complex instrumental prelude where silky guitar notes and challenging start-stop percussion make it feel heroic yet menacing. It elegantly segues into resurrection by building upon a central theme as Labrie begins his fittingly mythical storytelling. It's a satisfyingly wicked combination that surely pleases fans of Dream Theater's bleaker and rougher side. After Petrucci's lightning-fast solo, ominous sounds of wind bridge the gap between the two halves and lead into the intriguingly brooding Heretic. Its intimidating sparseness is extremely effective, and Labrie's leisurely singing is just as seductively evil. The arrangement develops wisely, too, prior to transitioning into the heavy metal vehemence of The Slaughter of the Damned. The ensuing instrumental jam is compelling, despite being a bit too mechanical. Of course, it eventually ties back to the start of In the Presence of Enemies as it concludes. It's another largely absorbing dive into Dream Theater's penchant for extensive multi-part excursions. All righty. All right. Kale wants a recap of where we're at so far. So far, Kale, they picked the ones who helped to set the sun. They picked Metropolis. They oddly enough, they picked Space Dive Vest. Then they picked Hollow Years. Then it was The Spirit Carries On. Then it was The Glass Prison. After that was This Dying Soul, and then Octavarium. So, Rocket Man, SD had credibility? Nice. Oh my gosh. All right, so we are on to Portnoy's final record until his return this past February. So we are on Black Clouds and Silver Linings. I think they're going Count of Tuscany. No. I think they're going A Nightmare to Remember. So I think they're going to pick A Nightmare to Remember. Myself, I feel weird because I keep picking all the really long ones, but that's what she said. I'm gonna have to go with your favorite, man. I'm gonna have to go with Count of Tuscany, and everybody in the chat is going Count of Tuscany right now, which is kind of obvious, I suppose. But I mean, I'll let you talk about Count of Tuscany because that's your favorite.
This one is tough because I think maybe my two favorite songs of all times are Nightmare to Remember and Count of Tuscany. So
wow, okay.
This kind of hoses me on this one. I agree. They're going to pick Nightmare to Remember. Count of Tuscany is the one instrumental that's that long, but maintains your interest melodically the best, I think. It has the best melodies you can just kind of grab onto, and there's enough cool little different things with little keyboard solos and various guitar solos, tempo changes and mood and dynamic changes plenty of times, but it's never stop and start like, oh, wait a minute, you're not like getting jerked around. It's just like a smooth ride through the what is it, not the Alps of Tuscany, it might be the Italian Alps. Is that where we are? I don't know, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe it. Did you agree that's their most melodic epic? Or no?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
I mean, Octavarium's up there, but I think Octavarium goes in so many weird places,
other directions.
Yeah. I think Count of Tuscany is a little more straightforward. So, but yeah, so the chat is definitely Count of Tuscany, but there are a few other choices. Rocket Man says that Nightmare was the first song to bring him into Dream Theater. Chastity Crawley says Wither. I pick Wither. They might pick Count because of the story. Doug McCauley says they'll pick Nightmare even though it's Count of Tuscany. Kale McLeish, interesting. He says, though I'm partial to the greatest hits medley, that is Shattered Fortress. Okay. Andre Cruz says Count of Tuscany is perfect. Ted Clayton, he says the Count of Tuscany or Rite of Passage. Doug McCauley says Rite of Passage is a great Dream Theater song, and Rocket Man says Rite of Passage is pretty solid. All right, well, let's see what we have here. and chalk up another one for me. A Nightmare to Remember is their choice. So, although they didn't know it at the time, 2009's Black Clouds and Silver Linings would be Dream Theater's final album with Portnoy until 2025's Parasomnia. Regardless of it being uneven in quality, it contains at least 3 of the best tunes they recorded during the latter 2000s, The Count of Tuscany, The Shattered Fortress, and A Nightmare to Remember. Ultimately, the top spot goes to opener A Nightmare to Remember, a thoroughly captivating retelling of a near-death car accident Petrucci was involved in during childhood. Explosions of thunder set the stage alongside Rudis's subtly foreboding piano motif. Shortly thereafter, the music gets more intense and dynamic, with Portnoy and Mayung's resourceful interplay standing out, as Labrie matter-of-factly paints a picture of what happened during the wreck. The arrangement, complemented by his gravelly verses and operatic chorus, live up to the title, and the sound of cars smashing adds to the anxiety. As appealing as the track already is, it's the mellower middle section that elevates A Nightmare to Remember to the next level. That I will agree with. Hospital sounds permeate Labrie's vulnerable recounting of events before soothing guitar strums and synths introduce what's possibly the greatest melody Dream Theater ever wrote, hopelessly drifting, bathing in beautiful agony. I would agree with that as well. It's an absolutely magnificent passage in every way, with some of Petrucci's most poetically resonant lyrics to date. Expectedly, some wild jamming follows, with Petrucci and Rudis trading off licks. Then A Nightmare to Remember wraps up with Portnoy trying his hand at gruff singing, more instrumental histrionics, and some pleasing callbacks during the outro. By the end, it's damn near a flawless composition. All right, so there we go. All righty, now we are on to the Mangini years. So we have a record you are a big fan of. This is my second to last place album if we are ranking them, which we have done on previous shows. We, of course, are talking about A Dramatic Turn of Events. So what do you think is going to be their choice for best song, and what would you pick?
You know,
I think we're going to be in agreement with all this. So.
Real quick, we missed one, Change of Seasons. I'm actually going to go with Change of Seasons on that one. I think that's what they picked too. I don't know what you're going to pick, but I think everyone else probably picked Change of Seasons.
I'm going to say the live medley from Ronnie Scott's.
Okay. Oh, Lord. I'm going to say Lost Not Forgotten.
As your choice or as their choice?
That's mine. I think they'll go Breaking All Illusions. I want to go Breaking All Illusions, but I'm gonna say Lost Not Forgotten.
Okay, let me get this straight. You, who are like the biggest champion of Breaking All Illusions there is, actually chose Lost Not Forgotten as the best song on the record. Is this the whole favorite versus best argument that we talk about?
Never mind. You're right. I'm just gonna go with Breaking All Illusions. I can't pick anything else than that. I just got to stick with that one. Breaking All Illusions.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this nice and simple for me. It's Breaking All Illusions. I think they'll pick it, and I'll definitely pick it. There's really nothing more that we could say on that. You and I, we have really done that song to death on this show. That's like, if we were to retire certain songs, that one would probably be on the list because we just love that tune, and it's on all of our I love this song type of lists on the show. So the chat, Chastity Crawley has Backs of Angels. Okay. Kale McLeish is voting for Breaking All Illusions. Luke the Composer says Breaking All Illusions, though I could see Bridges in the Sky. Zauberer96 says I'd like to see Lost Not Forgotten. I guess they'll pick Breaking All Illusions. Doug McCauley, would they pick On the Backs of Angels? Aeronetic says Bridges in the Sky. And Kale McLeish says, though, my pick would be Bridges in the Sky. All righty. Well, let's see what they chose on Mike Mangini's first foray into the Dream Theater universe. And we were right. A Dramatic Turn of Events best song is Breaking All Illusions. I think this one is hard to argue. Some of these are obvious, and I think this is one of them personally. As its name suggests, A Dramatic Turn of Events arrived shortly after the shocking departure of Portnoy. As such, it represented a fresh chapter for Dream Theater, with Mike Mangini taking over drum duties and the newly revised quintet having a lot to prove. Fortunately, they rebounded with their finest record since at least 2005's Octavarium, and in hindsight, the finest record of the Mangini era. That both those statements are total crap. Honestly, this was one of the most difficult entries to nail down because there are so many excellent choices, also crap. When push comes to shove, though, it's the penultimate Breaking All Illusions that best captures everything great about the LP. It begins with one of the band's most engrossing wordless preludes, steered by Petrucci and Rudis's dizzyingly intricate and moving structures. It immediately seems epic and emotional, and with Labríe's light and encouraging declarations, it gratifyingly conjures the tranquil magic of a change of seasons and octavarium. Naturally, the group alternates between this hectic nature and catharsis as they edge toward a wonderfully bonkers instrumental voyage, complete with some of Rudis's most inventive textural change-ups ever. The second half commences by placing Petrucci's purifying solo over calming keyboard chords and gentle syncopation. It doesn't take long, however, for Dream Theater to launch back into their trademark tumultuousness, with Rudis's carnivalesque progressions coating Petrucci's six-string puzzles and more enthrallingly off-kilter rhythms. Labríe's reprised chorus is a nice touch, too, cementing Breaking All Illusions as the apex of an all-around outstanding collection. Well, we'll have to have that guy on so I can debate him on that. Aeronetic. No further comment until Parasomnia. Nice. Doug McCauley. That was a rough time for Dream Theater fans. Big shoes for Mike Mangini. Cale McLeish says, yeah, that's pretty predictable, not going to lie. I wouldn't be surprised if they choose the Rush cover, Lime Looking Glass. All right, so we are on to the self-titled album.
Real quick, something that's always intrigued me about this album. Why do you think Breaking All Illusions is so far down in the track listing?
I think because it's the most classic sounding song on the record.
But why not come out the gates with that? They'd wanted you to wait to get to it, or what? I don't know. It's an interesting topic to me.
Well, to me, it has the feel of learning to live in a way. Yes. So I think, which is why, when we talked about the record, I thought it was really weird that they put, that, little mellow ballad on as the last song. I was like, well, what the hell is this? Like, it kind of is,
So you think of Breaking All Illusions as kind of the apex then, and then they just sort of threw beneath the surface there. Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense then.
Yeah. All right. So we are on to the self-titled album. I think they're going to choose. I think they're going to choose the epic. Illumination Theory. Myself. Ooh, this is tough. Oh, I don't know if I would go with the Looking Glass or, I think I would go with Along for the Ride. I think that's a standout track on this record, which is not a standout record for me. But I love the melodies there. I think it's a very well written ballad. Just the choice, again, I go back to melodic choices. It's super catchy. I really like, there's kind of like an angst to it in parts. Like there's a lot of emotion to it. So if I was choosing, I would go with Along for the Ride, but I think they're going to go with Illumination Theory. What are your picks for this one?
I'm going to go Looking Glass, and I think they're going to go Looking Glass too.
Okay. Doug. All righty. Well, let's see what the chat has to say. Let's see here. Chastity says, self-titled is Enemy Inside. Doug McCauley, I won't bring yours up because you listed the wrong record. Cale McLeish, well, every song from the Mangini era opens with the single as the opening song, except where there's an instrumental intro. It's a good point. Zauberer 96 is going with the Looking Glass. Luke the Emperor is choosing either Illumination Theory or the Enemy Inside. Cale McLeish is interesting choice. Cale's going with the Bigger Picture. Doug McCauley's going with Enemy Inside. Andre Cruz has a few choices. He says the Bigger Picture, Along for the Ride, and Illumination Theory. All righty. Well, let's see what they have. Everybody was wrong. It is Behind the Veil.
Okay,
interesting.
I wouldn't have never picked that.
Okay. Inspired by the 2000. Yeah, this is interesting. Inspired by the 2002 kidnapping of 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart, Behind the Veil, like much of Dream Theater, the album, purposely epitomizes Dream Theater's ability to be compact and concise. Its initial synth collage conveys childlike wonder and the emptiness of inexplicable tragedy, making it quite powerful. And luckily, the run-of-the-mill verses and guitar riffs that follow are saved by gentle piano work and the bittersweet pre-chorus. I'm finding courage in my darkest hour. The chorus itself becomes significantly more meaningful in the context of what Smart endured, and Rudis and Petrucci's team-up during the climax is suitably expressive. That's all they had to say about it, so I'm wondering if you didn't really like that record. So, all right, Behind the Veil. That's interesting. I would not have, I would not have guessed that. So, yeah. Oh, Luke, I did say Luke the Emperor, didn't I? It's because of your awesome cello playing. Sorry, man.
Went from composer to emperor in like less than 30 minutes. That's a pretty good promotion.
Now you got to change your name again, Luke. There we go. Cal McLeish says, wait, what? They went deep? Zauber in 96 is that surprising, but I like that they didn't take the epic. Yeah, that was kind of surprising, Zauber. That song seems to always be the one people talk about, that and The Looking Glass, when you're thinking of this record. So interesting they chose Behind the Veil. All righty. The most polarizing record in the catalog is next. That is, of course, The Astonishing. So this one's kind of weird, man, because there's only a couple songs on here I would consider like actual full-fledged songs. To me, it's all just little pieces of the story. So what would you pick, and what do you think they would pick?
Oh, man. I don't know. I'll pick the title track.
Wow.
Which
okay.
Which is the last song. Yeah, I'll pick Astonishing. I think it's the best song on there. What are they gonna pick? I don't know.
You sound so excited to pick.
Well, it's just like you said, it's difficult because it's hard to sort of pick one song on this.
Yeah.
I don't think Gift of Music is. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's like an amazing song or anything.
I don't know. I do like that one.
Maybe they'll just go with let's just go with Our New World, I guess.
Okay.
I have no idea. I guess, yeah. This is a tough one to predict. I'll say Our New World.
You're off your game tonight. I'm surprised you didn't choose Descent of the Nomax.
Yeah. Machine Chatter.
Yeah, Machine Chatter. Yeah, I think if I was to pick best, again, this is the whole favorite versus best argument. I would have to go if I'm choosing the best. I think I'm going Moment of Betrayal. A favorite obviously for me is either Gift of Music or usually Our New World. What are they going to choose? This one is difficult, isn't it? Wow.
Something like Raven Skill? I don't know.
I know it's so hard. Yeah, God, I don't even know what to pick. I'm just gonna go with Gift of Music because it's a single. I'm gonna say they're gonna go with one of their obvious choices. So, let's see what the chat says. Chastity Crawley is going with Act of Faith. Doug McCauley says, I have no opinions until distance over time. Cam McLeish says, Astonishing, I'd bet on Gift of, he said, I'd bet on Gift or World. I'm loving Betrayal right now, or The Path That Divides. Andre Cruz says, The Gift of Music and Our New World. Aaron Taft, great to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. He says, Our New World stands out for me. Tauber 96 says, I'm going with Power Down. Doug McCauley says, whatever they pick will be astonishing. Cam McLeish, Hovering Sojourn for the win for Nomax. Yep. Aaron Taft, Heaven's Cove is pretty cool too. Doug McCauley says, Raven's Kill. And Kale says, oh crap, I forgot Raven's Kill. That one's fantastic. Or Life Left Behind. All right, well, let's see what Loudwire has chosen. Oh, everybody was wrong. A Better Life. All right, so it says, say what you will about the Fivesomes' most underrated LP. I'll give you that. But at least they tried something drastically different and ambitious. Although The Astonishing has its fair share of issues, it undeniably houses some standout material. Moment of Betrayal, A Life Left Behind, and A New Beginning, for instance. Nevertheless, it's a better life from Act 1 that rises to the top. Admittedly, it begins by highlighting The Astonishing's penchant for soap opera schmaltziness, but it soon exudes relatively invigorating arrangements, lyrics, and hooks as it touches upon an integral part of the plot. Arguably, the most gripping portion of the entire 130-minute saga comes during the outro, when Labrie sings Evangeline, you saved a life of misery, or you lived a life of misery and pain. Sure, it borders on 80s power ballad cheesiness, but it's subtly intoxicating in a way that's difficult to describe and even harder to refute. While there are numerous reasons for why The Astonishing could have been better, A Better Life really isn't one of them. Okay. Yeah, Cale McLeish, he says, really? That's like one of the weaker setup songs. Ted Clayton would have chosen the X Effect. Okay. All right. Distance Over Time. What would you choose as the best song? And what do you think they're going to choose?
Man, I got two in mind and I'm torn. Okay. I'm sticking Pale Blue Dot. I'm going to die on that hill.
Okay.
And I think they'll go with the Alien.
Wrong record.
Wait, what am I? Oh, yeah. Sorry. We jumped to one.
There you go. Leave that sort of thing to Doug McCauley, man.
Hold on. Wait, what album are we doing, John?
Distance Over Time.
Yeah, never mind then. Oh yeah, that's right. I got the other two. Ah, crap. Oh shoot. Damn it. Actually, I think they're gonna pick this one. I'm gonna go At Wit's End, and I think he's gonna pick that too.
Okay. If I were to pick a best song, I would go with Barstool Warrior. I just think that song is just perfectly done. It's concise, but it has enough length to where they didn't just kind of rush it, like not give the ideas room to breathe. I just think, it's just the whole damn song is just catchy all the way around. It's up, it's happy. It's just a fantastic song. If I'm going with what I think they're going to pick, I like your choice of At Wit's End, but I think they're going to go with Pale Blue Dot.
Really?
That one, yeah, that one seems to be like a standout for everybody. And I think it's an obvious choice on this one for that reason. But again, I could see At Wit's End. Again, they kind of throw me because some of their picks are super obvious and some of them are weird. So I don't know which way they're going to go. So it'll be interesting to see what they have. Going into the chat, Zauber96 says, at the moment, I really like Fall Into the Light. Doug McCauley has Barstool Warrior. Aaron Taft is going with At Wit's End. Andre Cruz is also going with At Wit's End. He says, At Wit's End is my go-to. Doug McCauley, Brian pulled a Doug. Cale McLeish, At Wit's End or Pale Blue Dot, most deserve it. S2N is a personal fave. Good choice. Okay. And Aaron Taft also is going with Fall Into the Light along with At Wit's End. So let's see what Loudwire has to say about Distance Over Time. All right, I was right. Pale Blue Dot. So Pale Blue Dot takes its name and subject matter from the Voyager 1 space probe's 1990 picture of Earth, as well as Carl Sagan's 1994 book, Pale Blue Dot, A Vision of the Human Future in Space. This Distance Over Time song effectively uses spacey textures and voiceovers to set the scene, and Rudis' synths bring cosmic intrigue to the onslaught of irregular riffs and rhythms. What comes next is generally old hat, with a chorus, God Creators, Dream Destroyers, that seems lifted straight out of the Heretic section of In the Presence of Enemies. However, the midway instrumental break is sufficiently engaging thanks to Mangini and Mayung's stampeding unpredictability alongside Petrucci and Rudis' shifting timbres. Pale Blue Dot is rewardingly dynamic and contemplative enough to outdo the rest of Distance Over Time. Alrighty.
Well, I actually agree with him, but I'm surprised he picked it.
Yeah. Okay. Doug McCauley, Quagwire. Predictable again. Yeah, I think that's, I thought that was kind of obvious as well, Doug. Okay, we are on to the final Mangini record, A View from the Top of the World. I am going to go with The Alien for the best song for me. I think it definitely stands head and shoulders above the rest of the record. And I like the record, but I think The Alien is definitely a very, very standout track. Killer drum intro, just that song is just a beast to me. It's rhythmically interesting. The song just, I love like how it kind of breaks into the more mellow guitar solo parts. The song basically has everything. So what I think they're going to choose, this is tough because it could either be The Alien or the title track. Wow. I'm going to say that they're going to go with A View from the Top of the World. I think they're going to go with the title track, and I say that because it definitely is, like we've said, inspirational and uplifting and majestic, and I think for that reason they're going to choose that one. So, what would you choose as the best song, and what do you think they're going to choose?
Transcending Time, best song. I think they're going to pick. I think they're going to go with The Alien.
Alien. Okay.
I don't think people think the title track is that great. I've grown to really like it a lot more, but I don't think that view is shared by many, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out. The chat is saying, Andre Cruz says the intro riff of The Alien. Aaron Taft is going Alien. Doug McCauley says title track View. They'll pick The Alien. Zauber says Alien or Transcending Time. So there's a vote for Transcending Time. That's a great song. Kale McLeish, very uplifting comment, says no opinion. Don't really care about that album. So there we go. All right. Well, let's see what Loudwire has. Ooh, another point for me. The title track, A View from the Top of the World, says the Mangini era started with its best album, so it's kind of poetic that it ends with its second best album, 2021's A View from the Top of the World. The Alien, Sleeping Giant, and Awaken the Master were strong contenders for this entry due to them being surprisingly nuanced, diverse, and nostalgic. As has often been the case with this list, though, we're going with the record's sidelong suite and title track because it flows so well and offers a particularly absorbing passage. Expectedly, it's separated into 3 movements, and although it kicks off with your standard Dream Theater aggressive theatricality, it eventually pulls you in with its upbeat chorus. The true peak of the journey comes immediately after, when the arrangement gets livelier as Labrie belts out one of the most captivating melodies he's sung since the aforementioned one from A Nightmare to Remember. From there, A View from the Top of the World succeeds with intricately quirky instrumental breaks, pleasant harmonies during the atmospherically monumental rapture of the deep segment, and an impressively cinematic and grand finale. It's a superb way to cap off Mangini's time in the band. All righty, so we are now on the most recent record. This is the last entry on the list. We are, of course, talking about Parasomnia. I am going to put you in solo on this one for a second here, man. So I'll let you talk about this record just a little bit. Oh, no, that's me. What a dumbass. Oh, well.
Why am I going solo on this one? Oh, you got to pee that bad, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, Parasomnia. I mean, is it going to be anything other than Bend the Clock? Chastity's going to say Broken Man. I think Bend the Clock. I don't have a lot to say about this album. No, I do. They are going to pick, they're going to pick Night Terror because I think it's such a great killer single return, signaling the return of Portnoy, so dark, so heavy, and yet still plenty of killer melodies in that one. So I believe they are going to pick Night Terror. I'm going to pick Bend the Clock. There's just something about the vocal performance on that. I don't think we've heard a performance like that from Labrie since probably, what is your What is your favorite little ditty off of Distance Over Time, John? You love that song. So that's what I'm going to say. But I'm going Bend the Clock. Luke, the composer, says Bend the Clock, possibly Shadow Man Incident. We're getting a lot of Bend the Clocks here. So I think it's going to be all Bend the Clock. I think you're going to say Bend the Clock too.
Okay.
But yeah, man, Bend the Clock. I was going back to drawing a blank here. It's been a long week. What's your favorite tune off of Out of Reach? His best vocal performance since most moving vocal performance since Out of Reach is Bend the Clock. I just love Labrie, what he's doing on that song.
Okay. So, all right, I'm going to be controversial here.
Okay.
I am not as high on Bend the Clock as pretty much everybody else. It's a great song, and I love it. But everybody has it as this like ungodly, super catchy, beautifully perfect thing, and I'm like, oh, it's awesome. But there are other songs I would pick ahead of it. That being said, I mean, Parasomnia is just a fucking great record. So, it's kind of like pizza. Even when pizza's bad, it's great. That being said, yeah, I would actually go with Shadow Man Incident if I was saying best song on the record. I just, that song is, I've listened to it a whole lot, and I just love, the story's kind of cool, the lyrics are cool. I love a lot of the different like riffs that are going on. It's just, again, it's one of those songs we talk about that is long and doesn't feel as long as it is. And I always think that's a really, really good thing, because it means you're just really engrossed in what's going on and not focusing on, how long you're stuck there listening to it. So, in terms of what I think they're going to choose, I would say Bend the Clock as well. I think that is an obvious choice. I'm definitely in the minority. I'd be kind of surprised if they don't pick Bend the Clock. So let's see what the chat says before going to our final selection on Loudwire's list. Aaron Taft has Bend the Clock. Doug McCauley says Bend the Clock is a masterful song, no doubt. Kale McLeish, Parasomnia, there are so many great songs to choose from here. I don't know which one I want it to be more. Midnight Messiah, Bend the Clock. I'd like Dead Asleep to take it. Yeah, dude, Kale, I think Dead Asleep is the underrated gem on this record. I love that song. Nobody ever talks about it. I love that one.
I agree. Am I the only one too that actually kind of doesn't like Midnight Messiah? I don't. I just hate that Midnight Messiah. I hate that part. I don't know. Something about it.
It's so metal. I love it. Like, dude, I love the whole record. I mean, they really knocked it out of the park with this one. Seriously, like not to be a shill, but the record, every time I listen to it, gets better and better. It's just such an excellently well done just selection of tunes, man. Like, the vibe is awesome. I love the creepiness of it. I think lyrically it's really intelligent. Some of the best lyrics they've done. I just think it's great. So you can't really go wrong with anything on there. Ted Clayton says Bend the Clock. Luke the Emperor, says Bend the Clock, possibly Shadow Man Incident. Aaron Taft says Shadow Man Incident up there too. Andre Cruz says the Shadow Man Incident gives a strong, astonishing vibe. Okay. Doug McCauley's, go ahead.
Why do you think everyone says Bend the Clock, since you're not quite as high on it? What's your vibe?
I can see why people love it. I mean, it's beautiful. And yeah. It's the intro is a very classic guitar sound, I think.
Yep.
I mean, it's a great song, dude. Again, I totally see why everyone is going with that song. I mean, but don't forget, I'm also the one that just absolutely fawns all over Out of Reach, whereas nobody else really does. Yeah, so true. It's just a personal preference. So, Doug McCauley says Midnight Messiah wouldn't be a surprise, as SD loves the Portnoy songs. He also says Parasomnia gets better every listen. All right, so let's see what Loudwire has as the 16th entry on their list. Oh, everybody's correct but me. It is Bend the Clock. It's tempting to pick Midnight Messiah because of how many changes it goes through, and because it features callbacks to Train of Thought and Metropolis Part 2 scenes from a memory. At its core, though, it's kind of stale, whereas the penultimate tune, Bend the Clock, features LaBrie's best hooks on the album. It also recalls the vocal harmonies that permeated the Portnoy era, and although some of its lyrics could be seen as too sappy and uninventive, if I could bend the clock, the passageway of time, leave it all behind, no more paralyzing dreams, the midnight screams always haunting me, they connect to Parasomnia's central theme well enough. Petrucci's guitar work, especially his closing solo, is equally poignant too, solidifying Bend the Clock as the most memorable chapter of Parasomnia. All right. So there you go. Bend the Clock. Not a surprise there. The whole list is pretty interesting, man, because I think they really went back and forth between some unbelievably obvious choices and some really odd ones. So, this is a good one. Luke, the composer, says, my underrated gem for the album is In the Arms of Morpheus, one of their best opening tracks, period. All right. I think I would tend to agree with that. I think it sets up the record really nicely. That like, it's just very bombastic and evil, and it's you really kind of get a vibe of what you're going to get, I think. So I agree with that, Luke. Very, very good point. So, alrighty. Well, there is the best song on each of the 16 Dream Theater studio albums. What did you think of their choices overall, Brian?
I thought they were good. I agreed with probably a third of them at least.
Were there any that you were like, they're on crack?
No, I don't think so. I can be honest. I don't think anything was that. This Dying Soul was a little. What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, that was interesting. I think that one. I also think Space Divest was the one. That was just strange. That was kind of like, already, I didn't see that coming. So that was kind of odd.
Yeah.
But and what was the other one? The one from The Astonishing was kind of interesting as well.
Behind the Veil too, off of the
Behind the Veil was that was one I was thinking of too. Yeah, definitely some strange ones. I mean, and like I say, obviously, there's some obvious stuff. Why is my camera all blurry? Oh well. Yeah, I mean, you have to pick stuff like Metropolis. I think Glass Prison was another one that is just,
yep,
unbelievably obvious. In the Presence of Enemies as well. So yeah, it was definitely interesting. So I wonder sometimes, like, is this guy like a Dream Theater fan? So or was he a guy who like knows some Dream Theater and purposely was like, pick the obvious ones, like, I can't pick the obvious one all the time, so I'll pick a weird one, like, just to kind of throw a monkey wrench into it.
I mean, the in-depth analysis on those songs, I think he's pretty much a fan. You don't go that deep into the thesaurus or not.
Yeah. Old SD busting out the thesaurus. Yep.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, cool, man. Well, that was good. We'll have to look up some other stuff and see if they've got some other lists we can go over here on the show with everybody. But
definitely.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for tonight, guys. The next episode is going to be fun as hell. So we will be back here in 2 weeks. It will be Thursday, June 26th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, we are going to have our good friend John Pyro Watkins back on the show. We had him on a couple months back, and he was just telling some amazing stories about his time as a pyrotechnician for some of the world's biggest bands. And he will be coming on to promote his book, which, as I mentioned earlier, he should have promoted the last time because he was busy, talking about, I'm writing a book. And meanwhile, like a couple weeks after he's on the show, I see a Facebook post and it was, hey, my book's out. And I'm like, what? He should have said the book is done, but he didn't. But now it is out and you can buy it on Amazon. and it is called Don't You Know Who I Think I Am? Memoirs of a World-Class Smartass, The Fantastic Adventures of Pyro John. So I have it. I'm actually going through a second reading of it right now, and it is a fantastic, fantastic read. It's very easy to take in little pieces. Each of the stories that he has are only just a few pages long, so you can take it in nice little, easily digestible chunks. Or you can binge read it. I've done it in major chunks as well. It's a really super fun read. John has balls the size of Texas in some of these stories. It's pretty cool, and it's not just about rock guys. He meets all kinds of people like Mike Tyson, John Gotti, people like that. It's really interesting. So I would highly recommend it. Again, it is our very good friend Pyro John Watkins. It's called Don't You Know Who I Think I Am? Memoirs of a World-Class Smartass. And again, you can pick that up on Amazon. And again, I highly recommend it. And he will be our guest in 2 weeks on June 26th as we talk about his new book. And he also wanted to get into some additional Van Halen stories that he did not get to tell on the first show. And I just realized I left my John is taking a piss banner going the whole time we talked for the last 15
I wasn't going to say anything. I thought it looked great up there.
I just took the world's longest piss, apparently. So, but yeah, so Pyro John will be on here in 2 weeks, and we'll talk all about his awesome new book and get some more Van Halen road stories from him. So if you guys have some questions for him, feel free to throw them in the chat when he is on in 2 weeks. And otherwise, appreciate you guys all tuning in. This was good. Aaron Ettick, thank you. Doug McCauley, Aaron Taft, Stephen Engel, obviously Kale and Chastity. We got Ted Clayton in here. Doug McCauley, as we said. So yeah, Andre Cruz, everybody in the chat. As always, you guys keep the show rolling. So appreciate you guys very much. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks on June 26th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And one last time, guys, if you have not done so and you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button and the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time we go live. We may have some weekend shows coming up here sometime soon, so stay tuned for those. Until next time, I'm your host, John. He is Brian, and we will see you guys right back here on June 26th with Pyro John Watkins. And until next time, guys, as always, Carpe Diem.